Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Wednesday, April 2nd edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, 𝐁�ou𝐥𝐤, coming to you from the Well Point Studios here in beautiful, historic downtown Lowell. And I'm very pleased today to be joined by my special guest. Well, you see the guy out there on the left of your monitor. He's becoming a regular here on Wednesday mornings.
No place to go.
Nowhere else. The wife just wants you out of the house.
That's it.
Right?
Find someplace,
Former Lowell City Councilor Bill Samaras. Future Lowell City Councilor, do you want to make an announcement this morning?
Well, let's put it on hold.
Well, so you're not closing the door.
Oh, why? We never close doors.
Oh, I like that. I like that. We like to start some talk and some gossip here. A guy who is currently serving on the Lowell City Council and is seeking re-election again this fall, correct? No surprises from you?
I have yet to make the announcement.
Have you made the decision is the million-dollar question. But yes, no announcement, but we're pretty sure he'll be running. City Councilor Vesna Nuon is joining us as well. Good morning, Councilor.
Good morning, Teddy. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, the audience of Inside Lowell. And thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for coming. Great to have you here. We got lots to talk about. Even though you didn't, when we booked your appearance, I said, can you do me a favor and have some good controversial motions on the agenda so we can talk about it? And you had kind of a boring meeting last night.
It's not so much boring when you're talking about continue to improve infrastructure. In the meeting last night, a couple items that is part of continue to work on improving infrastructure. The transfer from the manager contingency account close to $120,000 to continue to fill all those potholes. Those potholes, most if not all those potholes, has been identified thanks to the 311 system that we have in place, and it has been working really, really well. So we want to see that maybe expand to work with the schools as well, the school do and the 311 system. That part of that close to $200,000 also used to improve the sidewalk and stuff like that. And the loan orders, the new and update loan orders that the $99.8 million that we approve is really to add on to the work that already that we're about to do, particularly with the sewer separation that the city has voted to. We put out their loan of $175 million to do the wastewater improvement, the sewer separation in Centerville mostly. While we're doing that, so the $99.8 million, use some of those money to improve the water main system that we have, the improvement there. So as you duck up the ground to do the sewer separation, you replace some of those water pipe that you have. That way you don't have to go do it twice.
The thing is, you did talk a lot on that. When I say a lot, I mean you really showed a great interest in that in the water system and what has to be done. I mean, that's obviously a concern of yours, and because rightfully so, a lot of communities have, in a sense, pushed it aside because of its expense. And you're talking about this as a necessary expense, correct?
No, because
it has to be done.
This is a big investment for the city, and it's an important investment because when you talk about waters, you're talking about safety. Yeah. Okay, you're talking about public health, right? In the morning, you want to turn the your faucet on. You want to see a clear water, right? So that public health. Safety wise, when you have a fire hydrant or the pipe broke and stuff like that, the fire hydrant's not working. If there's a fire in that area, right, and that is a safety for our residents. So those are the two important things as far as waters and
in a sense, why was that was brought up by several other councilors too. The idea of the hydrants not working properly, or is there an issue with the hydrants that there was such a concern? Or is it more preventive to ensure that we don't have a fire that's out of control because of the lack of water?
It's prevention, sort of. I mean, we don't really have an issue with the fire hydrant. Maybe there's one or two, but then again, that's not working properly. I know that the fire department is on top of that, right? And working with DPW to do that. So it's a lot of working together in the city over the year, and that has to continue to happen.
Well, Teddy, I thought that was important because they really are putting themselves on the line to spend some money on something that some people might say, well, everything's working. We'll
Deal with it when it breaks,
deal with
right?
it later on, something like that.
We're jumped into the discussion with Councilor Vesna Nuon, former Lowell Mayor, and Councilor Bill Samaras. We'll get back to them and delve into what we already started talking about, water, sewer issues, and other issues as well. First, let me thank our Daily Pulse sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor, Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, Ray Booten is your man. Find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole plan. And today, April 2nd, marks the start of open enrollment for those insured under the Massachusetts GIC, the Group Insurance Commission. So if you're not already insured through WellPoint, go take a look at their plans. See, you're probably going to find something you like. Certainly if you're unhappy with your current provider, give WellPoint an opportunity. If you're already with WellPoint, this is the period where you can also switch plans. Maybe your life has changed. Maybe you're starting a family or growing a family. Maybe the family's all grown up and moved out and you want to make some adjustments that are more cost effective. Here's the period you can do it. From April 2nd through May 1st, open enrollment. And remember, at WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thank you as well to our friends at Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection in Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in Greater Lowell through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has trusted to protect its most valuable assets since 1982. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, who are bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Pirates bye week this week, back in action April 12th at the Tsonga Center. I hope to see you there. It's a great take. It's a fun time. And I almost want to promise you the Pirates are going to get on the winning side of the ledger on April 12th, but I won't bet the house on it. What I will bet the house on is that we're going to have a pretty good discussion here about things going on in the city with City Councilor Vesna Nuon to the right of your screen, former Lowell Mayor and City Councilor Bill Samaras, who left the door open to a run in Belvedere. I just heard 4 other candidates gasp as they heard that, right? Belanger, Duran, Gendron, and Finn are like, is he serious? Is he...
Or delirious.
Or delirious. You know what? Hey,
One or the other.
we'll take that. Since you started talking about the water and sewer, and you mentioned a 99, let's call it 100 million. Let's round it up. $100 million investment the city is making. There were some folks back at the time that were wondering, could the city have made more of an investment in this with the ARPA money? Others told me that, well, by the time you put these projects out to bid and can actually get them started, because you can only do so many projects at a time, that the ARPA money thing would have expired. What was your take on that? Would you have liked to see more on those types of works, long-term works?
Well, a lot of the money, ARPA money, we put into the waste water, right? Improvement, and that's part of the $175 million. Some of them, I don't remember the amount that we put into because we have to do it. The federal consent decree with that we have had with the wastewater in Centerville. So a lot of money from ARPA money put into the wastewater is already the $99.8 million that we have. A lot of those money go into water main improvement, not wastewater, water main improvement. So I think in hindsight, yes, maybe, but a lot of the ARPA money, $76 million that we had one-time money. We do a lot with that money. We almost $4.5 million go into housings and homelessness that the city put into that area. A lot of the money go into the improvement in park and open space in all the neighborhood. Each neighborhood got around, I would say, no less than $1 million. So you have 8 districts. So a lot of money going there. So money being well spent in a way that that we're supposed to spend to improve our city going forward.
Did you spend enough on Councilor Samaras, one of his new projects? Because he for a retired guy, he's certainly doing a lot of things. But you're part of the 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 Stadium improvement effort there. How is that progressing, and how has the city's support of it been?
It's progressing, but we're at a turning point. So, Councilor, what do you think? I mean, is the necessary funds to complete the stadium itself, the 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 Stadium itself, it has to either be taken down or a lot of money spent in the renovation of it.
Are you in the same group with Matt LaLacha?
Yes.
Yeah, Matt is doing a fantastic job, and you too, if you're part of it. City work closely with Matt to do everything we can to help in that areas. I don't remember exactly some of the stuff that we have worked with Matt and trying to help, either be in the form of monies and support. So going forward, I'm all in to help so that we have a park, the stadium. That area need to be improved.
Well, there was a slowdown in a sense of, because we redistricted, we had new districts, and the districts wanted their fair share of the money, and the money that was necessary for 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 Stadium was, we'll say, more than each district was going to receive, and there was some, we'll say a lack of support towards the 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 issue till they get their own money for their own district. Is that still a problem?
I don't.
You're citywide. You can look at things on a citywide position.
I don't think the lack of support from this council, whether district or at large, the council are together in supporting.
It's not so much the
𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 Stadium,
but it's making choices right now. Do you know?
Yeah.
Are we headed towards fixing 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲?
We are, and I promise you that the council that we have now, and even after this election, will continue to support 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 Stadium, because really that's where our high school team play. Whether you are district from Centerville to Pawtuckaville, anywhere, So it's not about this district doesn't want the other district to do better than the others,
Because sometimes it's hard for some people to see that.
Well, it's not so hard. I mean, I don't know why it's so hard for people that not representing Belvedere to not seeing it, because our children, our high school children play at that stadium.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because you kind of highlighted an issue that I'm starting to hear a little bit about. So I guess the money is there. They're going to build some kind of a building that's going to have a teaching facility, training facility, so the athletes have somewhere safe to be in there, even in bad weather days. But
because coaches, it's hard to coach from your back of your trunk in the car.
And which is exactly what they're doing. But now you're at the point where I understand you have to make a decision. Either you pour a lot of money into fixing up the crumbling structure there, the stands that go back to, oh God, how far back do they go? 100 years, almost, right? Or I've heard some talk about, do you potentially tear it down and rebuild, which, the city of Boston kind of dealt with White Stadium, right? With the soccer team coming in. Is that a realistic goal, or is
that
get the money to
the idea was, if you took it down, but you still had the face of the back of the stadium. So when you were coming in, the building, part of the structure of the building would be the wall.
But you would put up more modern bleachers instead of those cement things, right?
Well, the building would be in the middle of the stadium, so to speak, and the bleachers on the side.
Gotcha.
Is that why I heard that you are planning to run for that Belvedere district?
He's going to make
was
that
that,
his
was that was that the campaign focus?
Well, it has been. I mean, the thing is, originally when it started with Councilor Mayor Rourke and myself. I mean, Mayor Rourke came to me and said, we had differences of opinion as to the location of the high school. That battle was over. Now what's important is to finish the high school off properly. And what had to be done was take care of College Stadium and ensure that the coaches and the students had the proper places to go, to be able to change, to be able to have their meetings.
He kept his promise, and he'd been a front and center in that renovation of the College Stadium, working with Matt Lalachus and the team. So he's front and center on that, and I know the council support that as well.
Yeah. Can I make a suggestion? Councilor Mercer used to call me the 10th city councilor. Now I guess I'd be the 12th city councilor. But community preservation fund money. Can that be used for College Stadium? And one of my pet peeves is the last 2 years, there's been very little preservation money used, and there's been more towards building new housing. But I think a lot of folks, when they voted for the CPC tax, and you actually asked recently to have the city explore maybe increasing the amount that it gets, would that be a good use of that money? Could you kind of help fund that through that extra money?
You could. So there's 4 areas that CPA, Community Preservation Act, can be used for: housing, the historical, open space, and I think a fourth one I forgot now. That's part of it. The recreational.
In essence, those three are very important.
So those are the area you can use, not just for housing. You can use for the recreationals and open space like that, like the college stadiums and stuff.
And Matt
That's what you need to do when you get back on the council. Make sure they tap into that money.
Right.
And Matt Lasher, I mean, his plans are not only, what you're going to do for the student athletes, but open spaces for the community.
Walking areas, exactly.
Area.
Last year, 2024, we spent over almost $2 million from the CPA money to address a lot of those issues, housings and historicals, and so it's a matter of you apply. I'm sorry. It's you have to apply. And then the committee will review it and make decision on it. You have people support, and I think it shows that, right, I did ask for an increase to look at possibility of increase it, because you're going to have to do all this work anyway. You do it with additional money from the state, right, to help with the CPA. Over the years, we got approved. I submit that. It was approved by the council 2019. Since then, CPA, everyone want CPA money, and chaired by no other than our former DPD directors, Adam Becky. Yeah. It's an awesome guy. So, and I think, sure, we have to look at to increase, if not 1%, maybe just 0.5%. And then looking also to maybe to do cut back the exemption on commercial. Because that will bring more money to the CPA account, and so that CPA committee can appropriate those money accordingly. And yes, the college stadium could just submit.
And from what when I asked, I mentioned that criticism to Manager Golden when he was here for a visit, he said that even though the last 2 years there hasn't been any money from the CPA fund allocated towards parks and that stuff, you have to allocate a certain amount every year. That money has been put aside, and you can do it in a future year. Yeah. So right. I may piss off somebody who wants an open space somewhere else, but there's a potential avenue for you.
Well, the open space regard to park and stuff like that, like I said earlier, the ARPA money, each of the district will have almost no less than $1 million to improve the open space and park. So now CPA money can be used at improving such as the stadium. So why not ask for it?
There was an interesting.
We're trying to help you here.
And you don't have to run. I'm just trying to make sure that you're not running.
But he'll have a bigger microphone if he runs, right? So it's a louder voice if you're on the council.
Joy, his wife Joyce might just kick him out of the house.
She's going to kill him and us. You mentioned 311. It appears that system is getting an awful lot of response in there, especially potholes. Is it getting overburdened? Is it? My fear is that you're going to get so much stuff sent in through there that the city's not going to be able to deal with it, and then the people who put their suggestions in, if weeks go by and they don't get it resolved, they're going to start to get ticked off. Are you concerned that the system will be overburdened, especially if you maybe add schools, which you and Councilor Robinson talked about a couple of weeks ago?
I'm not so much concerned. I'm happy to see that it's working well. We're going to have to reassess if at point when this is become overburdened. But at this point, it's working very well. So when things like that working, you want to also see if you can implicate or add it other area, to other area like the school. Mm-hmm. So.
Is before the schools get added to the 311, does it make sense to do this kind of reorganization of the buildings and DPW departments, kind of bring everything under one roof, school side and whatever? I know it's pretty much a definite that the high school, the new high school building, will have its own dedicated staff. Do you support bringing the school and the city side together under one department, as some councilors have suggested?
In what form? Everything? I mean, finance and
maintenance.
Else?
Finance, maintenance, staff, etc. I believe Councilor 𝐒𝐚𝐥𝐲 has been talking about this a lot, and Councilor Robinson. Right. And there appears to be some momentum there, at least on the high school side. Should just the whole thing come under one roof?
The facility, the managers, the cities and the school looking at starting a facility department, right, addressing high schools particularly. I agree on that. That way we don't point fingers at each other, and we're working together. And that way, you know what to do with, particularly with the new high school. We still have issue with the high school renovations and stuff, but consolidated or finance and everything else, I think that I'll leave that to the administration to work it out and to have that discussion. And if it works, then I support it. But at this point, I have not much. I have no knowledge of that coming about.
Is that a good idea? I think in a prior appearance you said it's a good idea to have at least the high school have its own facilities department because it's such a big campus.
And it's become very complex. Yeah. But the thing is, when you're talking about the buildings and those type of issues, the city and the school department have to come together, because too often we're replicating costs, but we're not adequately replicating those costs. So it's best to put it under one system and take care of it. I mean,
so you'd be okay as a guy who was in the school system for a lifetime, served on the council, and also chaired the school committee.
Because there were times we needed some help at the high school, and it was difficult, and we had to go. I had to go through sometimes the superintendent's office, sometimes the school committee would demand that it went through them. Because if you raised an issue, it became an issue. When all it was, what you were trying to raise is that you had a concern about fixing something at the high school, and you didn't care to see a battle, happen. All you wanted was to have it fixed. And I think this would allow for a much smoother avenue.
Speaking of the high school, the school building committee, I believe, meets tomorrow night. Thursday, April 3rd. That is the night that our friends at Skanska, Mr. Dowd, is supposed to reveal some more exact timing, but more specifically, some more exact costs, overruns due to what they discovered in the foundation of the buildings. You're on that school building committee, right? You're on the city council. Have you gotten a sneak peek? Do you know
We don't. They come back to the council. They come before the council next meeting. The consult. I mean the OPM and this kind.
April 7th, right? They're going to come in front of you.
April 8th.
April 8th, yes, I apologize.
Yes, April 8th. Yeah.
But will they give those numbers on April 3rd? Do you expect to see those
Yes,
numbers at the school building committee before the council does?
Well, the issue is it's not that the council receives it first, because the committee that we're on is a representative of MSBA. I mean, so the thing is, and it's by law that we get the proper information.
Have you seen that report yet before
No.
it becomes public record tomorrow
No.
night? You'll see it for the first time tomorrow night?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. How much do you anticipate is going to be above and beyond?
Well, there was a major issue with the flooring and what have you, so they're bringing together a lot of information, and hopefully it's doable.
All right. We shall have to wait till
He's
Thursday.
very optimistic. He's an optimistic guy.
Have to be.
Well,
Wanna be.
Either way, it has to get done. This project has to be done properly one way or another. And I hate to tell that to the taxpayers, because unless there's a Hail Mary from the state legislature, again, the city of Lowell taxpayers are going to have to pick up this cost. But at this point, I think it's worth it to get it done right and then not have to worry about it for 30, 40 years.
I'm hoping that it can be done with the contingency money and what have you.
Right.
I think it's that close.
Maybe they could take some of the profits the Skanska is going to get from the Rourke Bridge and shuffle it over to the... We can value engineer the $273 million Rourke Bridge and bring a couple of million over to downtown.
Good idea.
Speaking of downtown, we're solving all the city's issues right here. Maybe this is what we should do every Wednesday. You focus a lot on downtown, Councilor Nuon.
I have.
As part of your being an at-large councilor, but also just kind of because, as you correctly point out, the whole city, downtown is in reality the whole city in terms of the image of the city. Yeah. It's the first thing most people see when they come to Lowell from outside the city. Are you happy with the progress in downtown, the number of buildings, the number of vacancies, the look and feel of the downtown? What's your assessment?
Well, it could be better. Just last year we passed the vacancy ordinance, right? Because over the years we don't talk about with property owners to renovate it upper floor, because without renovation of the upper floor, you're not going to get much foot traffic for the businesses downstairs, the storefront. So without a vacancy ordinance, you don't get the property owner to do anything. They just leave it there because they can. So now when you have the vacancy ordinance, you do two things. One, you say to the property owner that we want to work with you, we want to help you. Let us help you with grant, with whatever we can. Let's renovate it, fix it up, right? And this is good for you because then you turn it into income for you, and the city will get tax from it, right? So it's a win-win. But if you don't do it, we will make sure that any violation will be addressed and addressed properly. So more like a carrot and stick approach. So since passing that ordinance last 2 weeks ago, actually, the city, DPD, sent out a letter to some of the property owners to say, look, let's have a talk on this and let's get this to comply and let's see what we can do to help you. We want to, not sure if the second wave of letters gets sent to other property owners yet. That's a good thing. That's a good thing for downtown. At the same time, it's been a couple years already working, behind the scene. I know you have involved in it as well as of until now, last year and year before, when we start talking about the business improvement district. We've seen it happen in other cities and town, and how with these business improvement district is a supplemental money that the business, this money that cannot be used by the city by this business improvement district. You can use it to beautify, maintain, and do other things that other city have done and town have done. And there've been a meeting over the years, and as of yesterday, they had a meeting also in property owners. And so this is not we thought just about the city only want to see this happen. Now the business and the property owner who are part of this committee and going out as just like you said earlier that you've been out there talking to other property owners and to try and get them to buy in why this is important. So going forward, I have high hope that the downtown will do well, and that doing well, the business improvement district in downtown can replicate elsewhere in other districts. Let's say 𝐶𝐚𝐸𝐿, let's say Pawtuckaville, let's say the Highland. So I'm very highly optimistic.
Yeah, I've been a part of this is I think the second, maybe third time I've been a part of this effort, and it kind of died and nobody really knew why. This is the farthest we've gone, and in my discussions and the other discussions I'm hearing, the downtown property owners who are ultimately they're voting for a tax increase for themselves. They're volunteering to pay higher taxes if enough, is a certain threshold that has to be met in the percentage of properties that are voting on it. But I think that this time it's actually going to go through, at least from the discussions I'm having.
Right.
And I know the city has also, my understanding is the city has also committed some funding. There's some ARPA funding that they've committed to put in on top of it to kind of kickstart this whole thing. I know Manager Golden and Ali Carter and that team have been really, really pushing it this time.
Manager Golden and we had discussion on it. Some money from the ARPA has already been allocated to help a startup on that. Right.
And that's important.
Yes. So it is important. So when you're talking about an additional tax, a small additional tax, that small, it's tax is only used for the downtown, only used to improve, supplement, additional in addition to what the city is doing, supposed to do for the downtown. This is used to beautify, putting flowers outside, hang up, and doing a marketing, and stuff like that for that business. And you have a committee. When you have the business improvement district, you're going to have that group going to create their committee, and that committee make decision what to spend that money on. It's the cities cannot touch that money. It's for you. You more or less you as committee, property owners and business put that money in a pot. So when you say, okay, you all decide to use for what? It's all for you. To improve that, to get more business, to raise the value of the building, or so on and so forth. There's so many things, so many good things will come out of this.
Yeah.
Well, don't you see a lot of the city councilors really paying a lot of attention to that? They'd be paying attention to that committee, because if your committee is going in a certain direction and that's successful, the rest of the council would want to be part of that too at some point.
Yeah.
And they could help with extra funding.
We're not letting the council decide how the money's going to be spent.
No,
when people ask me, like, how are you, Teddy Pano, supporting a voluntary tax? My answer is because we as a collective will decide how that money's spent. You guys are collecting it on the tax bill, but then you turn it over.
But the thing is, you'll see many councils observing what's going on, and they're going to try to come in on that too at some point, and they could assist with okaying other funds from the city.
You could. I mean, other district councilors, say if it's 𝐶𝐚𝐸𝐿, other district councilor can then advocate it to have that, replicated that areas as well, and that business and property owners in the 𝐶𝐚𝐸𝐿 going to have to form, what downtown have done.
Yeah, because there are people always focus on the downtown, but there are a lot of business districts in the city. You have the Bridge Street corridor, the Westford, Chelmsford Street corridor. You have, Rogers Street out in Belvedere. So it's Gorham Street. So my hunch is if we're successful downtown, that the rest of the city is going to want to follow suit in their individual districts.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But I could see you being more creative, and that creativity can really help in the future.
It's because we're downtown. We're the coolest people.
Why not?
In the city. I want to talk a little bit about elections. There was a lot of talk the last couple of weeks, and you filed a number of motions regarding the elections and how the city election will be run in 2025. I've been critical about the motion to move the early voting drop box to another part of the city, take it out of the police station and move it somewhere else. Please explain what you're hearing from concerned residents, because I want to be fair to you and give you an opportunity to explain what you are hearing from residents and how big of a population is that's expressing concern to you that they don't feel comfortable voting at the police station.
Right. It's not about moving. I got called that people, you usually don't go to the police station only if you're in trouble, right? or people are afraid to go. There's still a lot of people afraid to go to the police station, knowing that they're not done anything wrong, right? So they say, I don't want to go there. Why it has to be there? I understand having a drop box at the police station is safe. It's a safe place. People cannot come and move it or take it away. But in addition to that, you can just still have the drop box at the police station, but add at other locations as well, and making sure that it's safe. Making sure the idea with having people early vote, drop box and stuff, it's just so to give people opportunity to vote early and to come out and drop it in the drop box, right? The ballot box, I mean, in a safe way. But if people are not comfortable to come to the police station to drop their vote there, then it's defeating the purpose.
Would you want to see one in every district?
I'm not sure. I'll leave that to the elections department to do the evaluation or to do the assessment. If it can be done, with little or no cost, then it'd be nice to have it that way.
Do you encourage folks who are, and I believe I've heard from people myself that don't want to go and vote at the police station.
Oh yeah, it's a real.
But it's a mail-in ballot.
It's not.
They can put it in a mailbox anywhere in the city, or even bring it directly to City Hall.
Right.
I know the after hours is the issue, but that's when the vandalism that has become a concern with these drop boxes also becomes an issue, right? Most of it happens in the overnight hours.
The major part is the concern of the vandalism, have it in all the location is not safe and stuff. And that's the idea of bringing it to the police station so that it's a safe place. People don't come and do vandalize, taking things from the police department. I understand it's a safe place, but a safe place for that to drop the ballot. But for a lot of people, they don't feel comfortable to go. And so you got to call, and that's why I filed those motions. It's not my motion. It's not me filing it. Me because the resident expressed concern. I'm just doing, what I elected to do, and just express,
You're the voice.
The voice, basically, yeah. So I'm open to add in other location and making sure that drop box is safe. So whether the whole every district or not, just at least a couple alternatives so that people can comfortably come and drop off that ballot.
You also, there's been talk about changing the early voting, the in-person early voting from City Hall to the Senior Center. The Senior Center seems to be kind of the preferred destination for those who don't want to do it at City Hall. That creates challenges. How do you juggle that? And if you're not going to do it at City Hall, should you find a different building than the Senior Center?
Maybe, but it has been, except for last year, we did at the City Hall. Parking is a problem for people at the City Hall, right? So the Senior Center, we have done that. Over the year, we've done it at Senior Center. I understand that we were told last year, or even this year, by the election directors, that do it at City Hall interfere with others who have lunch or breakfast in that hall. But it has been done over the years. And all of a sudden we move it to the city hall, and people express the frustration with parking and all that. People come to vote and they got parking ticket for that, because they come to vote and they thought just a few minutes and they turn out to be a little longer and they got ticket, or even just a few minutes. Maybe the enforcement officer was just waiting for that person to get out of the car. I don't know, but that could happen.
One guy in particular who might just be doing it. I think they moved him out downtown.
So right now, I know that election directors are looking at alternative, and yes, I like the ideas also, and to look at other locations other than the senior center that have provide parking for people.
The thing is, there is no perfect center, but the issue of parking has been a problem, and that's, if you can address that in some way, that would help.
Right. No, there's no way to address parking in the city hall.
No,
really.
there isn't.
You either park in the meters and or not.
That's correct.
If you have an election, just one election day, you make free parking that whole day.
And it'll be taken.
Taking up part.
You'll find a million cars down there.
Yeah, that's right.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to last night's meeting, and the one area where there seemed to be some contention was about the city auditor. The council voted, I believe it was an 8-3 vote or 7-3, if I don't know if all 11 were there, to have the manager negotiate a contract with the city auditor. The city auditor is the council's employee.
Right.
And Councilor 𝐒𝐚𝐥𝐲 brought that up. He thought it was a conflict of interest. You were one of the ones that voted in favor of having it done. 3 councilors said no to it. How did you view that issue? Why did you vote the way you did? You're laughing.
The 3 staff for the city that under the purview of the city council, right? City manager, the clerk, and the auditor. Mm-hmm. Historically, my understanding is that maybe the last administration or what that the purview was kind of like giving the managers, giving the auditors was coming under the managers, so to speak. I think even I support it because it didn't take away the council will make a final determination. I have final say whether or not to support that contract that the manager negotiated with the auditor, right? So in part the manager negotiated with the auditor, and with that presented to the council, and the council have an opportunity to question, to say nay, to say yes or no to that, right? So in perfect world, Councilor 𝐒𝐚𝐥𝐲 is right. The council.
It does make a point.
Yeah,
it does seem like a conflict of interest because the auditor is still under the council, right? But I remember, was it under Manager Golden's administration, but a different council that did have the manager do the oversight, or was it under the Donahue administration? I'm a little, my timelines are a bit off for when.
I think it comes in under the Donahue administration, but it's not oversight. The way I look at it, nothing's really changed. Okay, the 3 positions are under the purview of the city council. Yes. And the city council will say whether you get a raise or not, or what have you. City man. So what you have is they're just using the city manager as a professional. In other words, instead of hiring a lawyer or what have you, you have a professional doing some negotiating for you, and they bring the package back to you, and you look at it. That's the way I see it.
Would it eliminate the concerns if simply the mayor was part of the negotiation, or the mayor handled the negotiation?
The mayor is part of that.
The way it happened last night is that preliminary review or preliminary evaluation is done by the managers and send it to the council for a final determination, right? But I agree. I agree. It's clearer. If the council were to do all that, it would be, of course, it's a little more work for the council. This way, the manager's already looking at all this area, and the council will, review it and said, check off. Oh, no, I don't agree with this. Let's talk about this some more. That way, it's half of the work has been done already, right?
But I've done
by the manager.
But I've done it before because I've done as mayor. I've negotiated contract with the city solicitor. Okay, so as mayor, I'm doing this thing. So now, would the city council, the way I look at it, is just asking the city manager, to put together a legal package and what have you, then forward all of that information to the city council. Let the city council make the final decision. The council has to make the final decision.
You could vote either from the last night vote, right? Because it did not voting to support to have the managers negotiate it, start the negotiation. Does not take away that the facts that the council have a final say in it. Or I could just vote no. That way, the manager don't do it. Now I have more work to do.
Yeah.
You see? So there's no preliminary to look at.
Okay. So the other thing that confused me, and I reached out and get the answer, was that, and in case other people out there have the same question, the way the motion was worded is that the auditor's term expired in December of 2024. So I asked, why did it take 3 months for somebody to realize she's been working without a contract? But my understanding is she hasn't been working with a contract. That this would be something new. Is that accurate?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, so that has happened. It's also happened where an evaluation was supposed to take place, it never took place, what have you. Certain people responsible for making that people aware, the council aware, did not make the council aware, or what have you. So but the thing is, nothing was changed. The auditor is still under the purview of the city council, and should be.
Okay. I think we'll end it there.
Okay.
Have you made up your mind yet? Are you?
Oh no.
You're still undecided?
It depends if he'll buy me lunch or buy me supper or something like that. We'll see what
we can arrange
the citywide.
Well, we can do that. Let's talk some more at lunch. You know what I mean?
I'll turn off the cameras now so that the negotiations can begin in executive.
Well, I mean,
and we'll go to the Athenian corner and the cameras on there.
You don't have to do it. I mean, I see now the field for the Belvedere district have a lot of good people. You have incumbent, Corey Belanger, and then you have Aaron Gendron. You have, Belinda Duran, and you have, Dan Finn, and there's all very good people.
It would be nice if all districts had that.
Yeah.
I'm as somebody who likes advertising. I'm encouraging challengers in every district and preliminaries in every district.
It would
It's
be
hard.
like.
You see, this is sorry, Mr. Mayor. I just want to add to this is that the hard part is that the council have to be honest with ourselves going forwards. That even just a district, if you are going to your second and third term in the district, no one's going to run against you. You're going to have the king and queen of district. You have to look at term, time out after certain term, time out. You can, if you run at large, time out. You can run district. If you run district, time out. You can run at large, and you can come back. That way, you open room for new idea, young idea, to come in and do that. The way it is now, forget it. So I think at some point we have to be honest with ourselves, talk about that.
I think we have some breaking news there. Councilor Nuon supports term limits on the city council. Do I sense a motion coming up in the coming weeks, or will you wait till after the election? You've already broken a little news. You might as well keep going. No?
No, a tease is always the best direction.
Leave them wanting more.
Leave them wanting more. I mean, it's a good approach because then people will, you'll hear from your constituents, correct?
Right.
What they want.
All right. we'll leave it there. Councilor Vesna Nuon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Teddy.
was great.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
former Mayor Samaras, we'll see you next week.
Yes,
you,
I'd like to.
Same place, same time.
Same
Maybe we'll
place.
start a little earlier, so
Okay,
we
yes.
can upload this by noon. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Councilor Nuon. Thank you to former Mayor Samaras. Most of all, thank you for tuning in here for today's Daily Pulse. We'll be back tomorrow and Friday, and then every weekday from Monday to Friday, as we like to say, the Daily Pulse, keeping our finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it. Till next time, everybody stay safe, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Cool.